The Pistons are the basketball champions of the world.
Detroit, it's time. It's playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work.
Shout out Detroit. I got to buff up, you know what I'm saying? Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Buffs on Podcast. We are the best POD in the 313, and right now, the Pistons are one of the best teams in the NBA. We're coming off a high of last week, and we're still riding that high. The Pistons are 7-1 in the new year, 10-2 over the last 12, coming off another win in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to try not to cough in everybody's ears today, but we got some awards to hand out as we're approaching the halfway point of the season. We got some awards to give out, and then we'll touch on some of our favorite moments or our favorite moment up to this point in the season. But we are 40 games into the season, guys, and we are 21-19. Crazy to think that a year ago, I think I saw a post where it was when we were 36 games into the season, we were 18-18, and combining 21, 2, 3, and I think it was 22, we were 18-90 through our first 36 games. So kind of a turn of events of the last half century or half decade. But I'm going to kick it over to Vali because you got all the topics in front of you. So, Vali, what award are we giving out first today?
Yeah, I thought we'd start nice and easy before we go into our a few of our more niche categories and our other categories. I thought we'd start with the most valuable player. I think this kind of is done intentionally so we can give our franchise some flowers right now. I think we're all in unison when we pick our MVP. We will give our MVPs and then our second place runners as well, just to kind of spark some conversation, guys. But your MVP, we're halfway through the season now. We played 40 games. Mine's Cade Cunningham. Yours is Cade Cunningham. Everyone's is Cade Cunningham. This guy is averaging 24 and a half a game, almost 10 assists. Just keeps doing it and just keeps like adding to his legacy. I mean, what he's doing in that regard. I saw Pistons Jack made a sweet video. Shout out Pistons Jack. We hope to get you on the pod one day. He was doing his thing after, and he said, Cade now owns Madison Square Garden and is now in the MVP race. And I loved it. I love the recognition. I think you got to be a little silly to get some media recognition right now, but you look at the last time he played Madison Square Garden, that was to snap that 16-game losing streak, and he did it in a fantastic style with that monster triple-double he had. And then in Madison Square Garden here again last night, shows out. I mean, you really can't say more about it. 4 fouls in the first half. Comes out in the second half without fouling somehow against Brunson, which is ridiculous. 29 second half points. Couldn't miss in that third quarter. You're seeing elements of him taking over. He almost did it against Golden State, willing us back to a victory. He is just taking step after step, game after game, and just progressively is improving. It's scary to think how good this guy can be. You can look at so many reasons as to why this team is now in the position they're at, 21-19. However, the main reason is because Cade Cunningham is playing at an all-star level. He's playing out of his mind. And without a doubt, he's the Detroit Pistons MVP. He quite literally does it all. He's turned it up on the defensive end. That three-point shot is becoming a really good weapon for him. I'm loving the volume he's shooting that thing with. Obviously distributing, just guy that's going to break record after record in Pistons history. He is our franchise player. After he posted on Instagram the other day and Stu commented franchise, all caps. Just love calling him franchise now. It gets me hype. He's the MVP this year. I'd love to get into who's second, but open up the floor to you guys as to who the halfway mark MVP is for the Pistons.
Yeah, it's Cade Cunningham. And you give him MIP even within this season too, because he, like you said, is just getting better every just continuously taking steps to this whole season. And we're seeing it now where Val, you've mentioned it on a couple different text threads now, trying to get guys into the Pistons. Like that Kate has that like takeover ability now. And that came from, early in the season, we lost some tough games. And there was a lot of time where it was high pressure basketball and we saw him make mistakes. And we were like, we were having conversations about Cade, like how good of a closer he was early in the season because we're reactionary fans. But all that stuff has it's forged him, man. And now it's like that the game is close, and I'm not worried about it. Pistons, like, think about the last couple years. The game is close. You're like, we're losing this game, right?
When the
And
game isn't close, I think that.
yeah, no, like I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and now the shoe that's dropping is like, oh, the game is close. Yeah, Cade's been sitting on the bench. Let him come out and go on a sick, quick 8-0 spree while he scores 2 buckets and gets 2 assists and blocks some big man shot down low. Like, it's just this, that guy's what is it? The eye test, he can ball or something like that.
He passes the eye test.
He passes the eye test to the absolute extreme right now. Because also, I mean, we're comparing it to the Knicks, man. I was honestly thinking in that Knicks game, how the hell are you, like, this Knicks team is not fun to watch, man.
Oh,
Like,
they're terrible.
No, it's not fun to watch Jalen. Like, he's good. He's a very good player. But dude, I could not watch Jalen Brunson for 82 games and be like, damn, yeah, we're on the right side of basketball right here.
I guess I'll go. I got a couple things to build on. Cade, 10 points to start that third quarter in 2 minutes and 46 seconds, basically just taking over the game. Him and Asar Thompson were everywhere in that third quarter. Man, I had 4 things to say and I can only remember one of them. But Cade has been absolutely incredible. I think, like you said, Valley, it's a pretty unanimous pick. I think JB Bickerstaff had mentioned after the game yesterday that Cade has taken a step into the elite, which is crazy to hear from a head coach because, JB Bickerstaff has been around some talented players and he's calling Cade Cunningham elite. He saw the potential in Cade from the second he got here. And we saw so much last season, late in games, it would just be like a Cade ISO. And I think we came on the pod a few times and we would be like, okay, like maybe it's time that like we try to find somebody other than Cade to take the shot just to like take a little bit of pressure off of him if he isn't making those shots right away. Now it's in the clutch, like you're saying, Connie. Give Cade the ball, let him do his thing, and he's making some really tough shots. There were some hooks yesterday that he hit that were not easy shots at all. He's going 3-on-1, and it's becoming like easy. Like you just know Cade is going to hit the shot. But Gabe, I stole a little bit of your thunder. How are you feeling about Cade as the MVP to this point in the season?
No doubt, of course. It's so much like his ability to score now 1-on-1. He had some beautiful moves that just didn't drop last game. They were just like hung on the rim. But man, like the looks he gets, and I see some traction starting to build online, like of him being the epitome of an ethical hooper. That's kind of a side discussion that happens at points. Your point, Connie, Jalen Brunson, I would not consider an ethical hooper. I don't think anyone would. Cade just gets his points. There's no one that can guard him. Like I think I heard it mentioned today on the starters. Like OG is just too slow for him, and Mikhail was too small for him. What other player can you like say that those two guys are too slow and too fast for the person that they're guarding? Valley, I thought you mentioned his 3-point volume. I think that's the most important aspect of him becoming a superstar. Aside from the way that he lifts his teammates up, the way that he is the actual leader of this team. Like,
I have one more.
Yeah, okay. He's really like I think that's the thing. There's a lot of good basketball players. There's a lot of great basketball players. There's not a lot of players that epitomize being a leader and take on that weight onto their shoulders. And what he went through last year, like you said, Coni, it forged him into this elite player that we have in front of us now. And safe to say, I think he is the guy. It's not going to be this year. It might not even ever happen, but he is the guy. If we win a championship, it's because of him, and I think he's that good. Like that is his star ceiling as a player, and not a lot of players in this league have that.
Yeah, for sure.
You had one more thing.
Yeah, something that he can get better at. That I think is an easy avenue for him to get better at. Like you said, he got so many nice shots against the Knicks. There was one he had McBride on him, and he like spins to the other side. He gets like a right hand finger roll, and it just rolls off the rim. Cade shoots 49% on layups. He's like 6'6", 275. Like a lot of the stuff he has to do is craft, not 275, sorry, 225. A lot of the stuff he does is like craft, and so they are harder takes than a lot of other guys have to take. But like Cade shooting even like a bit better around the rim and converting the shots he gets around there at a level that is conducive with other stars in the league would make it like that's another way to get uber elite in the Cade Cunningham world.
Yeah.
Another really
No,
quick
you're good.
thing on his 3-point shooting. You know the leap that stars do when they take a bunch more threes that one season and their efficiency kind of pays the price for it, but it's a necessary step for them to become an elite shooter. Cade's having that, but he's having an increased efficiency from three. He's taking more than he ever has, and he's also making more. And this to be his first season really like weaponizing that three ball, I think it's just like he is going to be an elite shooter. You see how easy it comes off now. He doesn't struggle anymore to get the ball to the rim. It's not flat. Yeah, he's gonna have a high 3-point percentage very soon, I think.
Shout out Fred.
Shout out Fred. Speaking of we will do a coach of the year discussion a little bit later, but I know we wanted to talk about somebody that Cade, obviously the unanimous MVP to this point in the season, but who's everybody's runner up? I guess. Vali, you've been silent for a while, so I kick it over to you. Who's your runner up for MVP?
I think this is really interesting because there's so many guys you could honestly give it to. I think there's really a case you can make up and down this roster for so many people as like the second most valuable player to this team. But I'm gonna go maybe not out on a limb, and I'm gonna go Malik Beasley. When you look at just a pure point value, he's there second in points per game on this team right now on the active roster. He's up there in the entire NBA for total 3-pointers made. I can't remember the last guy we've had. Um, I don't think we've ever had a shooter of this
Don't say
quality.
Wayne Ellington.
I'm not there. He passed the Wayne Ellington hump early in the season. I'll give him his flowers. Not easy to do. But Beasley has just come in and it's just he has the potential to hit like 7 threes every single game. He has the potential to knock down threes with not even an inch of space. A guy that can just catch fire. Um, and I do want to focus on his basketballing abilities for a little right here. I mean, you look at last night against the Knicks. How about 6 3-pointers? 4 of those in the first quarter, including that logo three. He just has. I've never really used this term before, guys. It feels almost a little silly to use it, but he just has almost like an aura to him, you know, like his whole vibe and everything. He pitches in on the defensive end. He buys into his role in this team, as has every single person on this roster. And Beasley just happens to shoot a ton of threes. Merchandise is coming out. This guy's going right to the 3-point contest. He's shooting over 40% on one of the highest. What's he at, Gabe? 12 and a half threes a game.
It was something crazy. Yeah.
He's shooting I believe a career high number of attempts and makes per game from the 3-point line. This is a guy that went out on a limb and chose to come to Detroit in free agency. This is a guy who could easily be on 29 other teams in this league, but he bet on himself, and I can only hope that the contract is coming with him. Love that I've seen some development in his offensive game, and I've seen that floater really come along recently. Off the right foot, goes off the wrong foot to catch the defenders off guard, and has had a really high success rate on that floater. Beasley's come in and has been more than anyone could have dreamed of. Instantly comes in with like getting away from the basketball. Like statistically, yeah, he's here, 18 a game or so, career high in threes, 40+% from deep, shoots so many of them, has a huge gravitational pull.
He
But
takes about 9.5 a game.
9.5, either way, a crazy amount. But what this guy brings to the team is almost, you almost can't describe it. His presence, the veteran presence he brings, as a leader to this team. When we won our first game this season, the first thing he did was look in the camera and said, "First of many." And like somehow you just had a little feeling like, yeah, this could be the first of many. I don't think we'd expect to be in the position we're at now, but he's just constantly been here since day one, had a positive mindset, goes out to win every single game, goes out to play hard every single game. The shimmy, those vibes, they're contagious. Potential shimmy of the year at the closer against New York. Gets into it, talks his shit, like gets in beef with the other team. Like this is a guy that we've been desperately calling for as long as I've been a Pistons fan. But this young core needed someone. It respectfully, it wasn't Rodney McGruder, it wasn't Corey Joseph, it wasn't this long list of guys we brought in. Malik Beasley, kudos to you, Trajan Langdon, has been the guy that has elevated this team both in a basketballing sense and in terms of a mindset sense. So much to this team. I'm just patiently waiting for one of these days. I check my phone and the Bleacher Report notification is actually we've re-signed him or given him an extension because it to me has to be inevitable and it has to be coming soon. Malik Beasley, I think after some consideration is kind of a no-brainer to me as the runner-up for the most valuable player for this Pistons team.
Hard
If I
to
remember,
argue.
if I remember extension rules correctly from playing my team in 2K, if you're on a 1 year, like you haven't had it before, can you extend?
No, he's
Pretty
just
sure
a
you
free
can.
agent, I
It's a
think.
free agent.
It's gonna be inevitable. We
It's gonna
go
be
to
a
free agency.
Yeah, but
But
like you
he
can
likes here.
handshake deal behind the come on back. Um, yeah. What you get? What you got, Gabe or
It's
Amit?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's Malik, especially when Ivy is down now, and we just need, we need those three threes, those 10 points while Kid is on the bench just to keep us afloat. And to be fair, they've played well enough, like they've played more than keep us afloat. It's Malik Beasley, like Vali said, he has a secondary game a little bit off when they run him off the 3-point line, but it's really like the Stu almost takes the cake here for me just because of his defensive versatility. But I think I'd go with Malik as well.
Love it.
Connie,
Amit, what
oh,
you
you
got?
want me to go first?
I have someone different. Do you have
Okay,
someone different?
I do.
You can go first. You got it. I've been
Okay,
talking
I'm
a
all
so
lot.
right, all right.
interested to see.
Let's go.
I almost went out of the box. I wonder if you guys are gonna go this guy.
I might. I'm going a little out of the box here. This guy's always on the court, but he doesn't always suit up in Pistons red, white, and blue. I'm going with JB Bickerstaff as the MVP.
Oh, she'll let you go last.
I think JB Bickerstaff has been the unsung hero of this season. We saw last year what it was like to just watch this team just every night come out and struggle, just could not figure stuff out all season long. And we find a new coach and we're reaping the benefits. Like we're seeing what it's like to have a coach that actually cares, a coach that actually is like instilling in these guys what Detroit basketball is and the type of play style that he wants to see. And he's just a part of this team as anybody else is. And I think um he's if it's not Cade Cunningham, it's JB Bickerstaff that's kind of fueled this run for the Pistons so far. Maybe coach of the year candidate too, not just here on the Buffs On podcast, but possibly out in the real world in the NBA because he took a team that Monty Williams just could not do anything with and didn't care to do anything with, and has pushed them to a team that is one game out of the 5 seed, and which is just crazy to me that we're one game out of the 5 seed. We're a half game back of I think before that, so the Pistons could actually be in the 5 seed with a win over the Pacers on Thursday night. So JB Bickerstaff, you are my runner-up for MVP of the Buffs On podcast season. Connie, who's your MVP runner-up?
See, that would have been a really good closer. I'm gonna go with when times get tough in the middle of the game and there's no flow to the offense and the Pistons need a bucket. Who do you call? You call Tobias Harris. You call Tobias Harris, man. Maybe he's had some cold times during this season, but especially since Ivy's went out and this like real good streak that the Pistons have been in now, Tobias Harris has 100% been a part of that. This man is a hard-working, bucket getting guy. His 3-pointers even started falling. When we need a bucket, we get a mismatch. He plays exactly like how I play my player in 2K, which is you get a mismatch and you take the guy and just slowly back him down until either a double comes or they leave you alone. And if they leave you alone, you score. If the double comes, you pass to Cade Cunningham. And it's the same. It's the ultimate strategy. And this man executes it really well and rebounds like hell and has been, I feel, a pretty sturdy defender. on that side of the ball. Like the Pistons defense has been pretty legit. And Tobias Harris is out there a lot.
And Tobias Harris is a lot stronger than people think. Like there are
Oh
centers
yeah.
that struggle to move Tobias Harris, and I think that's helped us out a lot. But we can also touch on the defense a little bit later too. But I think the Piston bigs have done a pretty decent job of protecting the rim as of late. Like they've stepped it up, energy level. Stu's been great all season. Jalen Duren taking a little bit of a leap defensively is something we touched on before the season, so it's nice to see that actually somewhat coming to life now. He's just got to stay out of foul trouble from the non-ethical play of Jalen Brunson.
Real quick, have you guys seen that video of Tobias Harris where he's like, when you get done with a good workout, you got to play the slow jams because you just made love to the basketball court. And he's like really sweaty in front of his phone. Have you guys seen that?
No.
No. Oh, I got you. Hold on. I gotta find this.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Well, Coni pulls that up. Do we want to move into our next award, or you guys got anything to add on Tobias?
Next award.
All right. Well, this is our last official award that we're doing. We spent some time on the MVP one, but I think another really interesting one here, and we really only have to do, I'd say our first one. Let's go Defensive Player of the Year. I think this one could almost split us evenly 2-2 unless we have an obscure suggestion for this award. I can't even pull up the video. But for Defensive Player of the Year, I think I started the other time. So I don't know, Gabe, let's swing it over to you. Who was your Defensive Player of the Year halfway through the season here for the Detroit Pistons?
Hands down, Isaiah Stewart. Yes, Asar Thompson is a crazy defender, quick hands. Stu is the backbone of the defense, though. Whenever JD, has some foul trouble or it's just his turn off the court, the defense picks up immediately. Jalen Brunson was abusing JD, and then Stu comes in, and they willingly switch and just let Stu lock him up ISO. To have that is just crazy. And then at the rim, he has some huge blocks. He's just always in the right place. And it's not just the numbers and how he plays defense, it's also the energy that he has about him on that end, waving the fingers, screaming at people, being physical on every rebound. For me, that's the epitome of a big man defender. And even if the guard, like a wing, I guess, is a impactful defender, the big will always still have the edge for me on how important he is to the defense.
Yeah, even little things like yesterday, Cat was the trailer down the floor, and Stu was around the free throw line, and he nudged Malik Beasley forward so that Malik would go up and get into Cat a little bit to prevent him from shooting a three. So it's just little stuff like that. And I think, again, Pistons Jack, if you ever listen to the Buffs on podcast, we'd love to have you on the show. But I think he was the one that tweeted it out and pointed it out. But Stu, for me as well, is the Defensive Player of the Year. Not to take anything away from Asar, Stu has been doing it pretty much every single night since the season started. If Asar had played every single game, I think it would be a lot more of a fun discussion. Maybe it'll still be a fun discussion, but for me, it's still Isaiah Stewart.
Honey?
I mean, we've talked about it. Stu should be an all defensive guy, if we're being real. Like, this man is one of the best defenders in the NBA, no doubt. He's probably got the best. I'd put him up there against anybody else in the NBA of highlight mix of blocking dunks. Who blocks? I guess probably Rudy, but like, who blocks more dunks than this man Stu? And who blocks more dunks directly in front of the rim as to really let the other team's commentator and fans get as hype as possible before shutting the water off? Yeah, I think it's so cool, man. Like, every time I watch a lot of the opposing team broadcast because I stream the games, and it's like, oh, Porzingis goes up and Isaiah Stewart, and then it goalie just shuts it down. It's fantastic.
Yeah, nothing better than shutting down an opposing team's commentary booth. But let's check out this Tobias video. You wanna play it for us, Coni?
You get that good work in, you play on a slow jazz, because you just made love to the basketball court, baby. You feel me?
Good video.
You guys catch that?
Yeah.
How old is that video?
Huh?
How old
I
is
have
that
no
video?
idea. I've only ever seen it. Do you know who Bully Ball is on Twitter at Real
Mhm.
Bully Ball?
Mhm.
Every time the Pistons win, he just posts this like compilation of stupid Pistons clips. Uh, and one of them is the yeah. I have no idea where it's from. I tried to find it and it didn't pop up or anything.
That's quite the clip to pull out, but Gabe, how you and me on the Sioux train, I guess Valley, who's your guy? Because I think you're gonna have a different pick.
Oh no, not whatsoever.
Okay, okay.
I couldn't be more happy. I'm going to the game on Saturday, and I'm gonna be repping my City Edition Isaiah Stewart jersey. Um, I just want to say that Isaiah Stewart has been, especially this season, I think one of the most heavily criticized players, especially going into the season. People are kind of like, oh, what's his role? He's not scoring much. He's not rebounding much, but like his impact is so evident, and I still see him catching a few strays. Like when we get some of those clips on House of Highlights, like I think the finger wag on the block, or I guess this will come into one of my next awards, but him going up into Brunson's face after the game and flexing that Detroit on him. Um, it's just like there's some things that are just not measurable by box score that Isaiah Stewart does. He is the heart and soul to this team. We've said it. We've seen it been said 100,000 times, and even after the game against New York last night, he goes in and says, "Oh, I love that. My job is to do the dirty work." And that's why you don't see it in that box score. And I think that's why, to the more casual fan, you see a lot of criticism to Isaiah Stewart, but he deserves all of his flowers. Isaiah Stewart, um, defensive player of the year, halfway point. That'll be the same at the end. And this is a guy that I'm expecting to be on an all defensive team. I certainly think we are going to have a representative on one of those all defensive teams, and Beef Stew is my candidate for it.
What's that? Greg keeps mentioning the stat. Him and Isaac are kind of like back and forth on most blocks in the league off the bench. So all the stuff he does off the stat sheet, he is putting up defensive numbers. Especially, he also leads the league in, was it rim percentage? Like he keeps opponents at the lowest
As
shooting
of like
around the rim
a week ago, I want to say it was like 37.5%, which is like a better percentage than Wemby
than
and
Wemby,
Anthony Davis.
AD, Gobert, everyone. So yeah. But Assad has been a demon on defense.
Mhm.
That one play last night where like they both went to Brunson late, Cat was wide open, and then he just barely tips the ball to be able to like I don't know, like plays where it seems dead, and then look, there's Assad Thompson blocking the ball, stealing the ball. He has been incredible. If he were playable offensively a little bit more, it would be nice to have him on the court more. But
I think that's gonna come
yeah,
when like he was out for a while. I feel like he's been finding his groove a little bit more. I think and I feel encouraged by this because Amen Thompson is playing so well in Houston. But I think that he's gonna find his way to be able to be. I feel like he has even, and it's just gonna come even
there's
more and more
games.
with
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean with the Sar, I think when that hand, he's too quick for his own good sometimes. Like when he makes that move, he loses the handle a lot. If that's ever something he can control, where he can get a handle with that quick move, I don't know who can stay in front of him. Just because
Which
he gets half a step on you, he's in his gathering motion.
yeah,
Ask whoever it was. Oh, I think it was Denver when he had the crossover and dunk. Just
on
gets that
Peyton
half a
Watson.
step,
Mhm.
yeah, and then it's over for
Yeah,
you. So
that's
tighten
just
that hand.
reps. Yeah, that's just reps, and he just needs more games played. And
And he's hitting a few threes, which is
few
really
nice ones. He had one
really
last night
enjoyed.
I
too.
look clean. So yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
presentation.
Um,
Shout out Matt Griffin on Twitter. He put this out there. Over the last month, December 14th to January 14th, the Pistons are first in transition frequency off of rebound, and 10th in transition efficiency. The first game of that stretch was the first game that Asar Thompson played 20 plus minutes in the game. So Asar Thompson making an impact on both ends of the floor. And it's just, he was part of that run that helped us push to take the lead in the third quarter yesterday. So shout out to Asar Thompson for sure.
I'd be happy to transition. I think this is a very good transition to one of our next awards and one of the newer awards that we've done within the organization. Something we haven't done for about 20 years when Rasheed Walls was on this team. And I don't know, I know we've all seen it, but to those listeners, there's been a belt being passed around. The first one to get it was Isaiah Stewart, and this belt pretty resembles the biggest hustle player on the team, essentially. And fitting that Isaiah Stewart was the first one to get it. But ever since then, we've been passing it around. Hardaway had that big night hitting 7 threes. He was the one who obtained the belt. He passed that on to Marcus Sasser, which I loved, and I think just really shows the unity and camaraderie in this team. But kind of trickling off of Depoy and kind of gives us the opportunity to perhaps throw in some other names, so throw other names in the hat for this award. Halfway through the season, who has been your defensive, no, not defensive, who's gotten the belt? If one person could claim it right now, who would have that belt that signifies the hustle for the Detroit Pistons? I'm gonna go first, and I'm just gonna say, for every single reason that we just said, it's so damn well Isaiah Stewart. But for entertainment purposes, I'd love to throw some other names in here. I'll swing over to you first. The Pistons,
If we
you
want to
can
throw,
say Stu, but who you got?
I'll throw another name in the hat, and I think it's the guy that currently holds the belt, and that is Marcus Sasser. Marcus Sasser went from out of the rotation to skimming the rotation to just getting barely a few minutes, even with Ivy out. But whenever Marcus Sasser comes in, he's almost always made an impact. He's had a couple of medium scoring nights, but he's always making an impact. We don't come back in that Sacramento game if it wasn't for him. He had a couple big shots yesterday in New York. Also, that great play where I think he was getting hounded defensively, lost the ball, reobtained it, blew by his guy, and made a great dump off pass to JD for a dunk. Marcus Sasser not always getting a lot of minutes, not always scoring a lot of points. 7 points yesterday, but those 7 points, we don't win the game without those 7 points. So I'm gonna shout out Marcus Sasser just for entertainment purposes.
Love it. I don't know. I mean, Gabe, Coni, I have another name I definitely want to throw in this hat. But Coni, I'll swing over to you first. Different name to throw in the hat?
You
A
said,
same name? Who you got for the
I mean,
belt?
Juan Holland.
There it is.
Right.
Ronald. I was gonna say Ronald.
I mean, I said this earlier in the season. Every team needs a guy that's just like, just a little bit, just wired differently. And this man loves to get he loves to get into it because he loves this game. He loves to play hard. He plays hard as shit, and that rubs other people the wrong way, and then they get mad at him and he gets mad at them. And it's just all around fantastic for this team, I think. Getting into a Draymond, boxing up with Jordan Clarkson. The freak, I knew it from like one of the first games of the season when he had that wrap up with Royce O'Neal where he would not let go of the ball. And it was just ball sitting there. He's like, okay, sure. The rest are blowing the whistle. People want the ball. It's like, nope, I'm holding on to this because we want the ball. And I thought that was sick. And
Best part of that too is I think it was preseason.
It was preseason. That's why it was so nice. Yeah. Man, it's just got it in him. You either have that or you don't, and he's got it. He's got it in spades.
That reminds me of a bit of Stu's preseason as well. His debut where he got ejected like a minute or two into his official preseason debut when he was a rookie. Just kind of gives me the same vibes. Him and Ron, and I'm so happy we have them on the same team over here fighting for us and not against us.
Yeah, yeah, and I think in like Stu's rookie season or soon after, he got into a squabble with Giannis, and I mean, Stu definitely and Ron definitely not afraid to mix it up.
Gabe, what about you? Any other names you want to throw into the belt conversation?
Yeah, I'm gonna throw a guy he's not known for his defense. He's not known for his team play, but I think both things have improved this season. He's just been so vital to his team as well, and I think it's best known by taking charges and putting his body on the line every night on defense. Has to guard up in size so many times, but he plays hard, and that's Tim Hardaway Jr. And
Go Blue,
obviously,
Go Blue.
Oh yeah, exactly. And obviously, he is a good shooter. He's an elite shooter. But he doesn't. I think we saw it most clearly last night, and I saw a comment on the Reddit post that it said, "I don't think I've ever seen Tim Hardaway Jr. pass up an open shot," but he passed up 2 open shots to get his teammate even better shots. And I think to be a leader, to sacrifice not only his shots but also his body and all those charges he draws. And I think that's contagious as well. I saw Kate take a 1 or 2 this past week. So I'm going to throw Tim Hardaway Jr. the belt.
I love that.
And I gotta say, I was hating on him before the season. I said he was washed. He's definitely not washed. I'm gonna take that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timmy's been such a big surprise for us. I think those are all great names. I will stand on it being Isaiah Stewart.
I think it would be Isaiah
It'd be
Stewart.
Stu. It'd be Stu.
Stu has brought us with so many great moments this year. But Gabe, you mentioned Tim Hardaway Jr. and his new addition to the team and how impactful he has been. If we're specifically selecting one person, and Amit, you can't pick a coach. If you're picking one person that has been the biggest new addition to this team, who has it been so far? I mean, I think it's easy to say Malik Beasley, especially because he was our consensus runner-up MVP behind Cade Cunningham. Um, I think it's easy to look at Beasley. We've mentioned Uncle T. Gabe, you just mentioned Tobias. Any other like outside of the box names you want to throw in? I guess you could go coaching staff in that sense, but I want to hear that. But also, who is out of those guys, who has been the biggest new addition to this team? I'll jump in right away, and I'm gonna be born again, and I'm gonna say Malik Beasley again because for all the reasons that we've already mentioned throughout this podcast. Great shooting, great energy. Malik Beasley has been the biggest addition to this team, without a doubt, in my opinion. But I do want to note that I don't think you can really like point at one guy like that because, like you said, Gabe, Tim Hardaway Jr. passing up threes, like he wasn't doing that in Dallas. He wasn't doing that when he was a New York Knick way back when. Like, I think the vets have really dug in and built unity within each other. So it's difficult to single out a guy, but if I was going to, again, I'm going Malik Threesley. Um, Gabe, swing it over to you first. Biggest impact from a new addition.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is you can't go wrong with any name here, and that's just good for this team. But I think it is important. It is important when that new player is a starter, and especially not only for his play on the court, but also off the court. So I'm gonna go Tobias Harris. I really think he is like, yes, he's getting paid a lot. He's getting paid more than he's worth, but like he's such a nice guy. He's really just such a nice guy, and he's starting to hit threes. Like you said, Connie, it's at any time there's a smaller guy on him, he's gonna go into the middle and fade away, and the ball is going to go in. There's not really anything you can do about it. He threw up a left hand sky hook the other game. Wasn't too happy with him for that one. But it's crazy that every time I see Tobias play, I say, oh yeah, that's how Tobias Harris plays. Decent numbers, good players. But this season, like me and Valley were talking about the other day, he's kind of added some stuff to his game, and that's just to be a leader. Like it's really just to be the perfect leader that this team needs. And he's willing to like let a star play, to let Ron play. But man, this guy, I love Tobias Harris. I didn't imagine I'd ever say those words.
You got a guy, Connie? I'm probably gonna go pretty boring on this one.
Then you can go first.
I would just go Malik. I mean, it's hard to argue. Malik's just been incredible. We've talked about it throughout this entire pod. One thing I did want to touch on because I texted it in the chat and I want to say it before I forget. Shout out Isaiah Stewart. It seems like his mini push shots, his little floaters, his little hooks, whatever you want to call them, they're going down a little bit more, and he's becoming a little more sturdy with his timing on his jumps for his lays and stuff. So shout out Isaiah Stewart. But back to this award, Malik Beasley for me.
All right, I'm gonna go with, because I think Cade has improved that 3-point shot. Asar seems to, there's not a lot being going on with shooting it, but seems to be getting better. Ron Holland recently seems to be getting more comfortable with it. Isaiah Stewart, like you said, the middies, some bass stuff is getting better. I don't know how much he has to do with that, but I mean, we signed him for a reason. Fred Vinson, I think, if we're just gonna attribute all shooting improvements to him, has made an impact on this team so far, and is a new addition.
Great shout out there.
I think those are all pretty good points you guys all bring up. And all of these points have led to so many different memories throughout this season. And now that we are at a benchmark not quite 41, but 40 games throughout this season. We're at the halfway mark. I think it'd be really nice to take a step back, analyze what's happened this season. First of all, take another moment to be grateful for where this basketball team is compared to last year, and think what your favorite moments of this season have been. I've kind of been thinking in my head throughout this podcast, and I do think I have mine. I'd be happy to swing it to one of you guys first, if you're eager to get one of your points across, because there's been so many great moments this season, and we're all gonna say something, and all four of us are probably gonna miss like the most obvious glaring for the rest of the business fans. But just to kind of point out some of your favorite moments of this year, would anyone want to go first? If not, I'd be happy to fill in my favorite moment of this season.
Got it.
My favorite moment of this season came quite a bit earlier into the year. I just had the game pulled up and then I lost it. I'm sorry. Here we are. And we take us into early November, when the Pistons are still, imagine this, below 500. Kind of figuring some things out. Obviously, we lost those first 4 games of the year. Then we were kind of going back and forth, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. Coming off a loss to the Hornets, where we thought, okay, maybe we can turn it around. The Pistons hosted the Atlanta Hawks on a Friday night in downtown Detroit. And of course, Cade Cunningham grabbed the headlines. This is a game we came out really hot in. Cade Cunningham had himself a really nice triple-double, 22, 11, and 13. And I think this really marked a kind of bit of normalcy with him getting triple-doubles. 22, 11, and 13, like I mentioned, only scratching the surface of some of his ridiculous stat lines there. But the Pistons led this whole game pretty much, and where we've fallen short so many times is the clutch. We had a big lead, completely lost it, and we had to fight to get it back. In fact, we were down with the shot clock turned off before Cade Cunningham attacked Dyson Daniels, one of the best defenders this league has to offer, gives him a beautiful left-handed hook over a double team, put the Pistons ahead. And this moment alone, probably enough to be one of my favorite moments of the year. However, Cade just wasn't done. On the resulting play, he comes on his help defense and has a perfect all ball, huge block on Onyeka Okongwu to close out the game and officially seal the win for the Pistons. I think this was a significant moment for him and this franchise. It kind of proved, yeah, maybe we are a little bit real. Maybe we can actually be here and make a tiny bit of noise this year. Um, this game, I think was the most excited at the time I'd been for a Pistons game since Killian Hayes hit that game winner against Dallas a few years ago. But I seriously hadn't been so excited. And Cade triple double, it kind of was. He's kind of had so many little mini breakout parties, and I feel like this was one of them. This is one that put us on the map. It got us some media recognition, and most importantly, it kind of solidified the fact that Cade's him. Cade was that guy, and I think he was really proving it to us here. So many moments to pick from because there was one on either side of the ball, with the big block, with the big shot to win the game. I couldn't get this one out of my mind as my favorite moment of the year.
Definitely one of the great ones. Connie, Gabe, you guys got one?
Yeah, that's a great pick. Can't go wrong with that one. I'm gonna go probably just because of recency bias, the Cade and Ant having a scoring battle down the line, and Cade kind of showing that he's on that level. He didn't score as much, but he got the team involved, hit some huge shots. That whole game was just so fun to watch. Remind me a little bit of last night's game against the Knicks. But then to see Ant drop like the threes he was hitting, that was really I mean it was crazy to see, but also very fun. For me, I'm gonna go with that just because we're a good team and we beat a good team, and it looked like we were the better team the whole way through. There was no like fluke about it. We're just better, and I think that kind of opened the door to these guys. Like, and they understand now. Oh yeah, we're this good. Cade is this good. We have this guy, and yeah, for me, I gotta go with that game.
Another good choice. Connie, you got one? I mean, I'm going back and forth in my head. None of them really are crazy, and they're a little easy picks. But you got one that's maybe not as of a simple pick.
I mean, it's pretty simple, but it's the Pistons getting Mike Brown fired. Huge comeback against the Sacramento Kings, topped off with Jaden Ivey. You know, prayers up to my man Jaden Ivey. Get healthy. And one 3-pointer from the corner. Hits the free throw. Coach fired. We were at Mike's house. I was home for the holidays. Friends, got brothers with me. Pissed. I was so distraught during that game. We were down big down the stretch, and I was like, damn, really upset about this. And then the Pistons come through. It was just like such an awesome moment at the end for JI. Yeah, that's my favorite moment. It might be a little recency bias, but I don't think so because it was sick.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. My brother and I for the holidays we're together. Watched that one. Also, it's super rare to see like a comeback like that. Like, sometimes when your team's down, you kind of tune out mentally a little bit. But I was locked in that entire game, even when we were down. It was nice to see them come back. Um, Another big JI3 was the game against the Los Angeles Lakers. I feel like that was like the first game where I believe it was before or soon after the Atlanta Hawks game, but it was a game where it was like the Pistons are about to take down Anthony Davis and LeBron James, and it was just the team just fought through that game. I don't remember much. I just remember Jaden Ivey's three going in, and when I watch basketball games, sometimes I mean, I'm sure for a lot of us, when a guy hit the shot, you think, okay, that's the deal, or you think we need this one. It just felt like that was the first time that I watched a Piston game in a long time, and the shot that when it was shot, and I was like, oh, we need this. It went in, and it was kind of like a turning point for me on like, okay, we have something going here. We have hope. So that was probably one of my favorite moments because it taught me that like last season isn't how it's always gonna be. And I'm glad that this season turned out the way it is. And even Trajan Langdon has come out and said that we didn't expect this team to be as great as they're doing right now. And they're forcing us to think differently when we approach the deadline. But we'll talk about that at a later date. But for me, one of my favorite moments of the season to this point was the win over the Lakers.
I want to add to that real quick, Amit. Like you said, to expect a shot to go in, to expect a thing to go right. That's a new emotion I have this year. That Malik Beasley free throw to beat the Heat when Eric Spoelstra called the illegal timeout. Also, I have to mention it. I feel like in any year before this one, he misses that free throw. But of course, he makes that free throw. He makes the corner three last night. Ivy makes the and one. We get the stop when it matters. Like these things are just new this year, and if I believe, and I think with you guys as well, and like we've been beat down a lot as Pistons fans, the players have to believe as well.
Yeah, lots of great moments this season. Like you mentioned, the win over the Heat, the other win over the Pacers in the in-season tournament. A couple of the wins over Toronto have been super exciting. Another Jaden Ivey buzzer beater. We're only 40 games into this season, and I think we already have more moments to look back on fondly this season than we did during the entirety of last season. So it's a different feeling, and it's one that I welcome.
Can I hop in? Since technically this is after 40 games, I'm gonna say my favorite moment of the season is gonna come on game 41 when the Pistons, the red hot Pistons, take down the red hot Pacers and move up in the standings.
Yeah, I think that would definitely take the highlight of the season. We're 2 games over 500. Why not become three? Like it's just one game, so it's all good. Anything else you guys want to touch on? Any other awards we got to give out?
Those are all the awards that we listed and we ran through.
Yeah, sounds good.
So
more
real
games.
quick,
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
we do the next set of awards at the end of the regular season or after we like make our deep playoff run?
I'd do regular season.
And then we do another one for our
Yeah, for the
multi-round
playoffs.
for the
Yeah, like
after our playoff run. Then we
like
do
once we
another
win
one.
the finals, we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
make
yeah.
a
Okay, we can do
decision.
another retrospective. Okay,
Yeah.
sounds
Just
good.
decide the
I'd probably
season into three.
maybe like when we're still like on that high, like after the team like goes through the city on the bus and we're all there like screaming. Like once we come home from that, all
Oh
done,
yeah,
we'll be like, all
we
right.
could do a live pod from the parade.
We could do that. Yeah, because we're not gonna have
That'd be
voices after
sick.
the parade.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
yeah, that makes perfect sense. Two games this week. We've already played the Knicks. So I'm pretty safe to say that we're gonna win one game this week. Pacers and Phoenix Suns, two teams that are supposed to be contenders, two teams that we have already beaten this season. Are the Pistons going to go 3-0 this week? Vali, I start with you.
Absolutely. I do believe Halliburton is out. I don't want to spread misinformation, but I do believe he's out with the hamstring against us on Thursday. I think we'll show out. That's a game in Detroit, followed by another game in Detroit right before the Super Bowl. Excuse me, that sounded a bit silly. Not the Super Bowl, the playoff game, obviously at 8 o'clock. Shout out to my boy Jacob. Those same exact seats he had last time out when he got to see Malik Beasley has the same ones and invited me to go. Get to go to an all-you-can-eat buffet too.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I'm thinking there's no possible way we can lose on that day. Just too much stuff going right in the universe on that day. Therefore, 3-0 week, baby.
We're gonna need some pictures on the Buffs on podcast story after that one, Valley, and we're gonna need
Of course.
a Malik Beasley look back as well. So make sure you always got the camera ready.
I'm gonna wear my Stu jersey and I'm getting Stu's.
Yeah, just do Stewart and then turn around.
Hey,
Yeah, if you
I'm
get
fine.
Start barking at him. Wonder if
I'm
he
just gonna
does.
start flexing like a madman in his jersey and just
Yeah, FG doesn't stand for field goals for Stu. It stands for flexes given. So hopefully we get one of those when we take down the Pacers. Gabe, what are we doing? Are we doing 2-0 over the next two?
If Halliburton was playing, I was gonna say 1-1 this week. But I'm feeling good. I'll say we win those next two games. Because if you asked me before this Knicks game, I would have expected to lose here. So I'm gonna say a 3-0 week.
Coni?
3-0. Huge
Oh,
week.
y'all are trying to make me look bad here. You know what?
Yeah, what are you
We're-
gonna do, Amit?
We're gonna go 3-0. Everybody on the Both Sun Pod. I don't think we've ever agreed on a record that wasn't 0-4 or something. But yeah, I'm going 3-0. So the Pistons better come through on this one. Any other things to touch on before we get out of here? All right, sounds good. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Buffs On Podcast. Maybe by the next time we hop on the pod, we will have all-star announcements. I think starters come out on the 20th, reserves come out on the 23rd. Hopefully we get a Cade Cunningham all-star nomination and we can all go crazy about Cade Cunningham again for 40 minutes. But until then, throw the Buffs on Detroit, because I say it every week, but it's starting to seem more and more true. The future is bright.